Welcome back to Health in Today's Woman. Tonight we've been talking about strokes. In our first two segments we talked about the prevention of stroke, and then we got into some of the treatments of stroke. In our last segment I want to focus on that patient who's already had the stroke in a way to return some of the function that they had before. So I want to start off by addressing a few new people that we've gathered here tonight. One is Matt Smith, who is a physical therapist at N8C at MMC, which is Murfreesboro Medical Clinic. Miss Diana Clark, who is an occupational therapy assistant and who works a lot with stroke patients. So I want to start off with Matt, and I want to start talking to you a little bit about what are some of the things that in physical therapy we are able to do with these patients.
We're able to do a lot with these patients. We're able to look at them from a comprehensive model, see what the stroke has defined for them as their new way of living, look at balance issues, look at inability to perform gait activities, to be able to stand and perform activities of daily living. We're able to look at all that and incorporate a model for them to help them accommodate to their new body, their new sense of being. And
are we able to get some of that function back?
A lot of times we are. A lot of times we are. The earlier we can start, the better off we are. And we perform a comprehensive eval as soon as we can, look at what we can help accommodate and what we can help train the patient and the caregiver to do to kind of get the biggest return of carryover we can.
And that's interesting because you mentioned that this also involves the caregiver, which I think is a very important part of this, isn't it?
Yes, it is. A huge part.
Now, the other thing I want to mention real briefly, because we've got some interesting things that I want to discuss that we're going to show in occupational therapy, but on the physical therapy end, you know, there's different types of physical therapy. There's outpatient, there's, of course, inpatient, there's also home health. There's all these different things. You know, how do those kind of all work together? Do y'all have, we're just outpatient physical therapy, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then they have an inpatient physical therapy, the patient who's not quite there, is that correct?
Yes, that is.
And then they move from the inpatient to the outpatient setting?
They either move from the inpatient setting to the outpatient setting or to a home health setting, whichever one is best for that patient, what they feel like they can accomplish.
And so we have all different levels of patient and all different levels that we can address as far as rehab. Now, I want to take a minute here because I think we've got a great opportunity. We've got some devices here that are really making a huge difference in stroke care. And so, Diana, since you were the one that really kind of approached me with this, I want to take a look at some of the stuff that you brought with us. So why don't we all stand up here for a second? And I'm going to start off with this because I think this is just such an amazing thing. Explain to me what this is and how it affects the stroke patient.
Okay, this is called a height adjustable target, and this just gives the patient a visual target to look at. So when we're working with them and training, they have got a visual direction to move their arm in, the limb that has been affected. So Naomi has on a SEG flex, and what we do with this is help the patient to regain some of the use of their hand, the functional use. So the way that this device is designed, it puts their hand into extension. Usually when I see the patients, their fingers look like this or like this. Okay. So what I want to do is get the patient into a SEG flex, which is custom made for each individual patient. Okay. They're not one size fits all. So what we're doing, each one of the fingers has its own little cap that it fits in. And what we're retraining the patient to do is grasp and release, because that's what the hand is designed to do, is grasp and release, close and open up. So we use these little 4-inch diameter balls, which fit perfectly in their hands. So we don't want the patient to squeeze real hard, because that's just encouraging more of the patient's hand squeezing. So a gentle squeeze. Well, this gives them a visual output to look at. So what we're teaching them, they have a target. Instead of just saying stretch your arm forward, they have something to look at to direct their movement. So what she's doing, she has the target. I've instructed her to not touch the sides. So I want her to just lean forward and pull it out. And this is where Matt comes in, because he's helping the patient with the lower extremity. So the patient is re-educating the brain with their balance program.
Well, one of the things I think is so important, I think you're getting at, is this is not just re-educating the hand, this is also re-educating the brain.
Right.
So we're really working with all components, not just the hand, but we're working with the brain also to really retrain somebody, much like we train our kids as they're younger. We're basically doing the same thing with the stroke patients, is that right?
That's exactly right. Every time the patient squeezes, this is sending a message to the brain that this is what the hand is supposed to be doing. It's not supposed to be laying on their chest, drawn up. The hand is designed to work, so that's my goal and the patient's goal. When I'm working with them, let's do as many repetitions as we possibly can to re-educate the brain. So functionally, I want them to carry over with the movement. So if they're grasping and releasing, but we want this to carry over to some kind of functional activity that the patient would be doing at home.
Okay.
Everything that they have to do, the way that our hands work, we pick up our glasses to drink water.
That's good.
We
That's a good
button our shirts. We pull our pants up. But if these fingers are positioned like this, they're not able to do it. So the SabofLex is designed that it puts the wrist into extension,
Okay.
and then the fingers are open, unlike if I was trying to get her to work before these inventions, I would have had a hand that was working like this. So now I've got a hand positioned in a functional movement that can come down, grasp the ball, and retrain the brain by going around, or since this is...
take you just one second, because
Okay.
we're running out of time, and I really want to show this. So I want to make sure we get this shown, because I think this is something that's so interesting. I want you to
Okay.
explain this to me real quick,
Yes.
because we don't have a whole lot of time. But explain this to me.
This is a Sabo Glide.
Okay.
And this is every patient that I work with that has had a stroke, I start out with the Sabo Glide.
Okay.
Their hands go on the little blue part, which helps the hand to be able to glide.
Okay.
So they can get movements like we're always moving our hands up and down and
Right.
out and back and sideways.
This
So
allows them
what
to-
this is doing is retraining the brain. Every time they're moving that, they're moving their arm instead of the hand just being folded up in their lap. So very inexpensive device. It's $58 if they are unable to hold on this other strap that comes with it, which will help their hand to be positioned. It's $78. So anybody can afford that. So
That's great, because I think it's a problem that a lot of people have in medicine is everybody thinks everything is so expensive. So thank you, and we will be right back after these messages.